single pallet makes you a single ramp. That's your leftover boards that you'll have from it. So you got new slat boards to start to add to another one. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, the Humble Savage, and today we are in the backyard and we're honestly about to work on another ramp. As you guys saw in the last episode of the locals, they took my ramps. So today we are going to make some new ramps, and don't think the locals is done. So my plan now is to do a build and kind of show you guys how to build some stuff where you can set it up in the woods, get your ride on, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to stash it in the woods somewhere about 20 feet in. And you know, if we need to cover it or lay it down as low profile as we can, we're going to paint them green and brown so they, you know, camouflage in with everything. But that's the plan. So we're still going to build some stuff at our locals, and they're just going to have like installment spots where you just slide them in, get your ride on. And, you know, you got to fix the entrance to the ramp every time. But hey, we're doing what we got to do to ride out there. So today we're building a ramp, and today I'm going to show you piece by piece how I build those simple kickers that I had out there. So first, you start off with a pallet, and the first thing we got to do is break this pallet down. So I'm not going to show you how, or I'm not going to do no time lapse on how you do it. We're going to cut to the next step once it's broken down and show you how I choose what for what. Pallet breaker, if you're going to do it. Pallet buster, get one, makes the job a lot easier. Alright, so let's break this pallet down. Essentially, just to simply explain it, because it's almost the way it's going to be if I were to cut it in half. So essentially the two stringers are going to be the length, and then we're going to use that stringer on the end over here. We're going to essentially make a cut probably about here and here so they're even. So these two would be the legs. This will be a cross member, and then we can use one of these boards as another front like cross member plate just to kind of aesthetically finish it out. And then yeah, screws and everything, and that's pretty much it. So let's get to breaking this down. Alright, so this part is honestly the most tedious part of the whole thing. Once you get through this, we're pretty much in the clear. But now we got to remove these nails. Alright, so now that we have our lumber broken down, we're going to make our first couple cuts. So these two, they are as is, so we'll leave those off to the side. And this is what we have to work with for our legs and our first cross member. So essentially I'm going to make a cut on this end, and then on this end. Each end will then be the legs, the middle will then be the cross member in the middle. So let's get that cut up and we'll get on to the next stage. Alright, so now that we have our lumber, essentially, I take one of the top pallets and I cut it directly in half. That establishes the width of the jump. And then from there, this is going to end up being the cross member that gets put in between the legs. We have our legs right here. And so yeah, I'll show you how I kind of start puzzling it together, because this is pretty much it until you start putting all the pallets on the top. So this is going to get trimmed down eventually to fit in between the legs, but for now that's going to go over there. And First, we're just going to set up and establish the width of our jump. And what I'll do is I'll just line these up here. And literally just put like a placeholder screw in it for the time being. Now, when you're working with these pallets, you have to pre-drill everything so that way you don't split the pallets too much. Don't be upset because all the pretty lumber that you just took your time to get is busting apart on you now. And of course, I use the box with the screws that I need to rest the camera on. So give me a second while I switch some stuff around. Alright, so we're back. So, to make this video just as quick as possible and not a bunch of talking and you watching me assemble stuff, essentially we're going to put these sack screws in here. That's going to establish where the width of our jump is. Then we're going to take our legs. We are going to flip them. I put them this direction. Some people might like them that way direction for the skinnier part to go in the ground. Put my legs underneath there, and then I'm going to put two screws at first. There will be 3 eventually, but in the side of that, and I do that for both sides. So let's get to that next stage. Of course, we got company now. Just to cut in here and give you guys a look at what I do. So essentially, I let the ramp square itself up. I don't use any clamps or anything. I just hold it here, and I make sure these, butt up nicely with one another. Damn, I'm not even focused on it. My bad, y'all. I make sure these butt up nicely with one another, and then I put a screw in the side here. That's after putting, I screwed the top on first, and make sure these butt up nice. Put one screw in there, so that way you can still move it around and whatnot. And if things need to be lined up, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So then you'll have 2 legs. Once the 2 legs are on there, then we're going to end up putting that cross piece between the legs. And then from there, it's essentially just slatting it up. And we're also going to do something a little different this time. I'm going to actually try to make a lip on the front, so that way, since we have to take it down and put it up each time, we don't have to do as much to the run-in of the landing as we did when we had to kind of install it into the ground before. So see y'all in the next step. Alright, so we finished off the front end, and just to let y'all see what we got here. It's stable already. But essentially, like I said, this ends up here. This is your cross member here. I do this board just to kind of finish off the front, get that finished look. So now we're just going to put all the slabs on it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you like this type of content, hit that thumbs up. And yeah, we're back to ramp number 1 down at the local. So yeah, we're going to end up painting it. And then we'll probably do another episode where we take it out there and install it. Show you guys how we make it easy to install, break down, and then dip it in the woods. So until next time, stay humble, stay hungry, and you'll always remain humbly savage. Peace out, y'all. There you have it. All done up. Single pallet. Makes you a single ramp. That's your leftover boards that you'll have from it. So you got new slat boards to start to add to another one. Or just hold on to them. If you ever make a big boardwalk, you need an extra board, you got them. One of the ramps I made, I did do for a triangle cross section up here. And that was only because a piece of spare wood that I had from the first time I made it that was similar to this actually fit right in the nook right here, so it made sense to do it. But I'm completely confident in the strength of everything right up here, the number of screws that are in things, and just how it's all put together. It ain't going nowhere. It ain't going to flatten or anything like that. So that's kind of why I use that part up there. The way it flares, like it really, holds and squares everything up like that. But yeah, this is the pallet ramp, y'all. Simple, easy. Now, just dig it into the ground a little bit on this end. Set your run-in up, and your takeoff is down that way. If you want, you can dig the legs in a little bit, but generally speaking, they'll work themselves into position to right where they need to be. This was a little shorter than the first one that we had, the gray and orange one that we painted. It's more similar to the height of the second one we did that was on more of the downhill, going the opposite direction on the trail. But I'm satisfied with it.